Hello, welcome back. This is Colin Keeley here,
And I'm Brent Sanders.
and we are the co-founders of Avocado, an audio publishing platform. I think we want to talk about conversion rate this week.
Yeah, the dismal conversion rate.
Yeah.
Lack of a better term. I mean, we're seeing more traffic each week to the site. I mean, our website, splitting the two properties into two buckets, one our web app and the other our website. So the website, I think, is continuing to see more and more traffic. There's not a ton on there, but it's mainly our marketing hub, and then our web app, which we're continuing to also see more and more traffic and more started transactions. So I do have some. So we have like your standard tracking on the app, right? You have Google Analytics. I also have, we have the ability to handle some pixels, right? If you put in Reddit or LinkedIn or Facebook ads, we can see the conversions there. But the real measure that I've been looking at is, the amount of checkouts started to checkouts finished. So really, the rate that I would say is dismal is just the amount of people that see the checkout page but actually finish, which it's been pretty small. I don't have I guess the number depends on the time frame you look at, but it's very, very low, which is, I think in most e-commerce context, you see, some single, maybe slightly double-digit percentage, right? It shows intent. You put something in your cart. You're, depending on your checkout process, how do you measure, is this working or not?
So I looked into this, and for e-commerce, once a checkout has started, conversion rate is normally around 30 to 40%. And the big reasons that people kind of bail once they've already decided, like, hey, I'm going to buy this thing, I'm going to enter checkout, is either they were actually going to check out or they wanted to see what the fully loaded price is. So shipping costs, taxes, all those kind of different things, see if they qualify for free shipping. But none of that really applies to us. So statistically, we're getting into like pretty weird territory where like 100 checkouts will be started. And if they're all independent and they're different people that actually intend to buy, it would be very weird that they're all flaking, or at least most of them are flaking.
And of course, my first reaction is, something's broken. So, that's been the thing to try to understand. And so one tool that we have in our sort of arsenal for this is using, there's a tool called Inspectlet, which is similar to Hotjar. It's basically some form of, it's not really screen recording, but it's sort of session recording. And so you can kind of understand where was the user's mouse, what, if they input anything on their keyboard, you can kind of see that. And the biggest learning as of today is that most of the people starting checkouts are the creators themselves. So it's essentially people going to see what the checkout process is like on their own store versus a wide array of people. So the number isn't exactly equal to the number of new creators that we've added, but it's a lot of people that are getting their products set up. They're adding their audio, they're setting their price, they're adding their cover images, they're getting their store in a nice tidy spot, and then they're saying, okay, well, what's this experience like? And so they're not very interested. Obviously, they're not going to put in their credit card and payment information to check out. But that was my learning so far. It's like most of the people checking out right now, or that are starting checkout processes, are the creators themselves. So, I mean, I think that's one indication that we need to do a little bit better of a job showing people, what their own checkout's like. But then again, I don't think Shopify does that. I think in order to experience checkout, you have to kind of go and see it for yourself.
Yeah. So Shopify is just so established now. And I think they're probably just wondering, like, hey, does this actually work, this new company? To like,
Right.
Like we built some belief, like we're redoing our marketing landing pages with nice screenshots that are designer created. So that should, give us more credibility off the bat. And then I think we're just missing a lot of so as a creator now, I'm looking at I'm spending some money on ads. How do I increase conversion rates on my audio product page? And so it's a lot of just like e-commerce basics of like testimonials,
Mm-hmm.
adding longer copy. So with testimonials, what they often say nowadays is like the shakier the better. So you can embed like video recordings, so shaky video recordings of actual customers, or embedding tweets like people raving about your product. So stuff like that I'm looking at doing in the near term here.
I think that exposes one of the big assumptions that we had of like, oh, we're just going to make it very simple to get your audio course on. But by doing that, we've kind of skipped some of the easy things that you can put on your store's homepage. So because right now it's just your sort of bio, and even that we cut off. We only let you list the first couple of sentences, and but I think rethinking that view to be a little more controllable is probably a good way to increase this conversion rate. Because I think the reality is, in looking at the numbers, it doesn't seem like a lot of creators are self-promoting. And so going back to what you were saying about dog fooding and posting your own course is like seeing how easy or how difficult it is to promote yourself. So we're not a platform like Udemy or Coursera where you end up on our platform and we highlight and we have a catalog of things. Although we did have a catalog on our site, but we've removed that because it doesn't really show that well, but I think it creates a lot of confusion. We had a lot of creators reaching out and say, hey, can I get moved to the top of the list? Can I get moved? Can I get highlighted? Can I get featured? And it's really not what we're building. We're trying to build something that, you have your own platform. It's more akin to the Gumroads and the Shopifys of the world. So I think we're struggling a little bit with our current user base that started, found out about Avocado when it was a marketplace, and we've transitioned away. So I think part of what we're looking to do is message that change to our sort of legacy customers. And, there's quite a few of those. Like there are quite a few courses that have been created when that expectation was correct. So I think now that we've fleshed out this new model, it's like coming back and updating the site, updating everybody to see what their response is to that. Because I think some people have already been a little turned off. They expected us to be, giving them sales or getting them traffic, and we'll have to reset that expectation, which is never a fun conversation.
Yeah. I mean, it's not ideal. And a couple of people are a little pissed about it, but it's fine. Like firing our customers if we have a different customer in mind and they're not a good fit. Like if you sign up for podcast hosting or you set up a Shopify store, there's no expectation that Shopify or Transistor or whoever is going to be throwing you traffic and like creating your business for you. Like you have to build that marketing muscle. I mean, you're just dependent on these other platforms. You aren't in a great spot. You don't have a whole lot of power, and you're giving up a massive percentage of your revenue.
And I think that's where the not necessarily the genesis of the idea, but where a lot of the existing audio creators are seeing a gap. I mean, we have talked about the audiobook creator market. I mean, they're under sort of the heel of Amazon in terms of, the returns drama that's going on there. But more so, I mean, you're basically on a platform that's bringing you all the eyeballs, and you can really take control of your business if you can own that sort of sales and marketing apparatus a little bit more. And I mean, there's some great examples of, 6, 7, 8-figure creators out there that are selling courses. And again, this is the platform for seeing what's the best word for it? It's like leveraged opportunity, or, you record your course once and sell it 1 million times. Like if you can get in that practice. And I think one of the things that we need to help our creators with is that social proof. I think that's like the one component. And I think we need to add some ability in the product to show testimonials, like you were saying, or, let people know that, hey, this is what other people say, and this is what other people have kind of said about this course and what they think about it. So I think that's probably the biggest gap right now, or the contributing factor to the dismal conversion rate. But I'm excited, it can only go up, right? I'm excited to see us move that metric.
Yeah. So this is like productizing your offering. So, and I think audio is probably the easiest way to do that. So if you used to have an in-person coaching practice, if you're writing like all text-based things, you could record video, which is a whole process and not nearly as easy as recording and editing audio. So it's a bit of like, it takes time, right? You got to prove you have creators that are making real money, build them up as testimonials on our own Avocado site and case studies, and then show that to other people and prove that this is a good way to make money, which is just new. And it's going slower than we'd like, but we're making progress.
Everything goes slower than we like. Everything in any business, it always takes longer, which is probably, that's the key learning I've had over the last couple of years, is just that this stuff just takes time, and you want it, like the moment you release something, you expect there to be change. And it's like, actually it's the time that you get the people on the system and then, interact with them and help, shape the product. But it's part of the journey, which is a pretty enjoyable journey.
So my one other idea is that we both have run Shopify stores in the past. And what you kind of learn is if you add different payment methods, your conversion rate keeps inching up. So if you add PayPal, you add Amazon Pay, everything adds a little bit on top. And I know PayPal is a big checkout method. Right now we just support Stripe, where people have to enter their credit card details. So we discussed a little bit this morning, like the possibility of adding something like PayPal. So what do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, I've worked with PayPal a fair amount. I'm not so sure. I mean, so we've closely integrated with Stripe in order to take advantage of their Connect features. So if we do it, I think we would be introducing some manual process, but that's not really a problem if our numbers are what they are, right? As we grow, we could sort of figure that out, handle it manually, or even develop a process or automation for it. But yeah, I think that might be the case. I think we would still be seeing more transactions, right? I think even with what we have currently, we should be seeing a certain baseline. And then you're right, you would see some people that when they see that PayPal logo, they're, encouraged, or, maybe it's a sign of security for some people, or, the ability to have that insurance of like, hey, if they don't deliver on what they're saying they are, I know I can go back to PayPal. And that part of it might be encouraging. And it also depends on who you're selling to, because I've heard that PayPal is great for international. And so if you are, coming from abroad, which a lot of our users are, I would say, in looking at our traffic, I don't think we even have a majority of our traffic coming from the United States. So in that respect, I think PayPal might be a much more encouraging factor. So I agree in part. I just think I would expect to see a higher in general conversion rate, right? I like see a couple more, and then we would expect to see, let's say, a 10% lift with PayPal and a 5% lift with Apple Pay, or whatever that might be, or Amazon. Mm-hmm. Having the different options can be helpful. It is very much, the checkout process now is very much a tunnel, right? Like we kind of remove the navigation. We say, hey, here's the way out. It's give us your credit card and get, create an account and get started, which we tried to distill into the least amount of fields as possible. But still, that might not be enough reassurance that, obviously it's a very new platform and people aren't quite sure what they're getting. Maybe I think that, to me, I think the things that come before PayPal, it's like they're not quite sure what's going to happen next, and they're not quite sure if what they're buying is, or like if the offer is there, right? And I think having a third party saying, "Here's what I did," it's like I think some blog posts around, here's what I purchased and what I got and what I thought of the experience, like getting testimonials in that respect, or even like a rundown, or like a start to finish, this is what my experience was with Colin's audio course. It could be, it's like it's part review of the platform, but more so part review of, the actual content. I think some of that would be really helpful for people to see and understand, like even the creators understand, like, okay, here's what the full end-to-end experience is like. Because as evidenced by the amount of checkouts we get started by creators, they don't really know what's going to happen per se. They don't really know how somebody can get, they know we have apps, native apps that can, be used to playback and, a web-based experience, but it isn't totally clear how it all connects, which I would say is also the same with, I keep going back to Shopify, but I think it's kind of also the same there. Like you don't really know what's going to happen until you get your first couple transactions.
Yeah. And so we could talk about like my process of building my own audio course a little bit. So one of the big things I was struggling with is like, how do you price this thing? So I settled on $29.99, I believe. And so in theory, for these digital products, you should start high to price discriminate. So you maximize your profits initially. and then you kind of lower over time. So if you think of movies, like Mulan was a recent one, I think it started at $30, and then it will gradually fall down to like $5 for a rental, and then it'll be effectively free on Netflix.
Yeah.
So that is kind of the old way of doing it, and what theory would say is the right way. But in practice, when you're selling to your audience, this pisses off your most loyal customers. It's kind of not worth it. So you don't want to charge a lot of money to your most loyal customers, and then your like third tier customers in like 3 months pay 10% of what your best customers did. So you actually, the best advice nowadays is actually to start low. So this rewards your loyal fans. It seems you make it up in volume, and then you get better reviews, customer satisfaction, fewer refunds. And then the real thing is like you get more word of mouth. So you're kind of better off selling 1,000 digital products for $1 than selling one for $1,000, because you have 1,000 people there that could talk about your product and refer to other people.
That's a great point. Yeah. So are you going to, so you're at, I think you're at 29, right? $29.
Yes. My plan is, with feedback, I'm going to keep adding lessons in there and sections to the ebook. And then I'm just going to progressively increase the price.
Okay.
Is kind of my thinking. And then periodically I'll do promotions, because that it seems to boost sales and word of mouth. And that seems to be worth the lost profit you're getting. And then this is a way to like temporarily convert a market that wasn't going to pay full price anyway, is kind of my thinking now. And this seems to be the best practice for other ebook or whatever creators online.
Makes a ton of sense. I mean, you see that in software, right? You see that, things start cheaper and then gradually, I mean, I shouldn't say all software, but a lot of the independent software that's coming out, it's like, hey, sign up now forever for $1. And it really is getting that social proof, getting people talking about it. Because without that, we're seeing that barrier right now. I think that is a big piece to, our conversion rate, is that it's new and it's like, and I shouldn't say that, like, our rates are free essentially. And so we've incentivized, we're kind of, I shouldn't say our offering, but more so our creators' initial offerings. I think seeing what they're selling and how we present it on their behalf in our product is a good example. So I do think we should start some content around, obviously we need to reach out and tell people about, make sure everybody's on the same page about our marketplace going away. But then, what is it? What are some pricing strategies? What does it mean to, get testimonials? How do you kind of open your own audio store essentially? And I think that's a skill that some of our listeners already, know, or so I should say some of our creators, not our listeners, but some of our creators probably already have a sense for, but I think a lot of them came, especially the initial ones came from Udemy, and they, if they're interested in that, which I think they are, I think a lot of these creators would love to see a way where they can kind of take full control over their own, business and platform, take less of a cut. So I do think that focusing on that type of content, and then obviously building features so they can execute that, is probably the best place to go to move that metric.
So it also kind of ties in with our current pricing for the Avocado software as a service offering, SaaS. I had some friends that are listening to the podcast and like, what is SaaS? I don't know what that is. So I figured to find out for people.
Yes.
But we have this free offering. So almost everyone starts on the free offering. And then I think it's a bit of like, we're choosing the worst customers. So the people that are on the free tier are always the one that are complaining the most and expecting you to drive traffic to them. Like, there's probably a future where we sunset the free tier and then you get a free trial for like 14 days, 30 days, something like that. And then we just deal with the people that are really invested in building audio product businesses on Avocado, and like kind of cut down on most of the crap.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, and we've seen all of the incumbents do that. I think we've seen all of the players that, aren't necessarily, analogs to what we're doing. They're not necessarily audio based, but other platforms that are similar in the creator space get rid of that free tier because it's too much noise.
Yeah, especially at volume. So as we start getting more content out there, we're just going to have a bigger and bigger top of funnel, and it's going to become more of a problem with just customer service for these people that aren't really going to move the needle for us.
Yeah. I mean, we welcome noise right now. We we gladly welcome any noise that people would like to throw our way.
Yeah. Anything else you got? Otherwise, I think I'm set.
Yeah, no, I think this has been great. I think this is the point in which you look at any new business, and I think every business that I've started has been here. So I'm not, I don't want to leave the conversation feeling downtrodden. It's a bad conversion rate, but the good news is it can only go up. And uh, if I'm confident, as long as we stay at it, it will. And whether it's at a huge scale or even like an organic scale, I'm pretty excited that we're getting to the point where obviously it would be fun if everyone signed up and immediately started understanding and using our product without any involvement from us. That's just not how it goes. So I hope our listeners get to enjoy the ride, the essential entrepreneurship journey that we're on with Avocado.
I feel good about it. So I have my course, and I'm going to start throwing some targeted paid traffic at it. So we'll see that conversion rate go up, hell or high water, because I want some money. I want some money coming in the door in December is my goal. So it'll
That's
be
right.
a fun month, and we'll talk about on the podcast what works and what doesn't for me.
Excellent. Well, thanks for listening, everybody.
All right. Bye-bye. Take care.